What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost, and we're back again for the Mae Young Classic episode. I believe we're on 6. Yeah, 6 for round 2, match 4, match 5, 6, 7, and 8, of course, part 2 of round 2. We had Io Shirai in her second round match, Tegan Knox as well. And we find out who goes on to face Toni Storm, Rhea Ripley, and of course, one match here will be set up between two of these matches, which would be the final match of the final 8, which would be either Deonna Purrazzo and who she faced, which I believe was Deonna Purrazzo versus Xia Li, would go on to face the winner of the opening match, which is Zeuxis versus Io Shirai. I'm just going to point it out there right now. I did last week say that Miko Satomura versus Mercedes Martinez was the best match of the Mae Young Classic so far, and after this week, it still holds true that is the best match of the Mae Young Classic so far. But with what we have going into the final 8, the Great 8, whatever you want to call it, I think we have some matches that are going to blow that one out of the water. I'm not going to tell you right yet. We will get to my predictions on who's going to win what. But we're going to start off with Io Shirai versus Zeuxis. The bell rings, and we have a huge, everybody in the NXT Full Sail Arena is chanting, "Let's go Io, let's go Io, let's go Io." Io Shirai way over in Full Sail after one match against Xia Brookside, in which she literally pretty much dominated the entire match. So great to see that Io Shirai is already beloved by the NXT universe, the NXT faithful in Full Sail universes. So that's always a good positive. They lock up into a stalemate into the ropes by Zeuxis. They lock up again, and Io Shirai sends Zeuxis into the ropes. Stops by both women, then Io with a drop kick. Zeuxis gets sent to the outside. Io Shirai sends Zeuxis back into the ring. Zeuxis then hits a forearm as Io Shirai is trying to springboard herself over the top rope. She falls to the apron, and then a basement dropkick by Zeuxis sends Io Shirai flying, and Io Shirai is screaming in pain on her shoulder, her left shoulder, I believe. Zeuxis now works on Io's shoulder, puts her in a submission, working on the injured shoulder. Zeuxis puts Io into the corner, a huge kick to the shoulder and of Io, then a running double knees for a 2 count. Io is taking the punishment from Zeuxis, but Io trips Zeuxis as she's running towards the rope. She trips her as she slides outside, then a drop kick from the top rope in the corner, putting pressure on a prone Zeuxis. She does what, as you would see, she does what you would do, what you saw Lacey Lane do, where she does that handstand in the corner into a Bronco Buster, but instead of the Bronco Buster, she took her knees right into Zeuxis. Top rope, Io tries to pull Zeuxis, but Zeuxis gets out of the ring. Then a running suicide dive to Zeuxis, who gets thrown back in the ring, and Io gets a 2 count. Io tries to put on the crossface, but Zeuxis gets out. I'm so glad with the end of this match here, because I am struggling so hard to even say Zeuxis right. So if you don't from my words know who's going to win this match, which quite honestly, when it came to these matches this week, you knew who was going to win these matches. It's a and tries, but she does get out of that and turns the deadlift into a Michinoku driver for a 2 count. Then she gets on the top rope for a moonsault and miss. Io hits a drop kick to the back of Zeuxis' neck, like Zeuxis was just leaning forward, and she just nailed it. Looked like the back of her neck with a drop kick. Looks for a moonsault, but Zeuxis shoves her into the ring post, sets up for the Spanish fly by Io with a right hand, then a Hurricane Rana. Knees to the back of Zeuxis' head. Io goes up, hits her Acai moonsault for the 3 count, and your winner, moving on to the second round of the Mae Young Classic, is Io Shirai. Now, her opponent for the second round would be in our second match, but this match was definitely, it was a little bit more challenging for Io Shirai compared to her match against Xia Brookside, where she pretty much just dominated. And Zeuxis, this match was leagues better than the match she had with Ariane Monroe, which was just boring and was not needed to be on the card the Ariel Monroe and Zeuxis match in round 1, in my opinion, would have been better seated for a qualifying match to get into the Mae Young Classic. But that is neither here nor there. This was better for both women. Both women actually got to challenge the other one, in which Zeuxis definitely had a better match, and Io Shirai actually had to work to win this match. So yes, her next Io Shirai's opponent would be named with the next winner of the next match, Deonna Purrazzo or Xia Li. Battle rings are underway. They exchange holds. Xia Li has a leg lock on Purrazzo, and again, this is getting old already. You don't need to do this every single match. It's just like Reveiw's doing the drive-by every match, or Dean Ambrose used to do that. Go through the ropes, which the first time he did it looked like an accident when he did that back in 2012-13, when he just fell on the ropes, bounced up and hit a clothesline. That looked like an accident, and they put it in his repertoire. This is already boring, and I don't know if she did this in every single match, but you don't have to do this in every single match. Xia Li had a leg vice on Deonna Purrazzo, and Deonna Purrazzo maneuvers herself around and handstands and gets out of it and does a bow, and it's like, you don't have to do this every single match, because just like Baron Corbin, who every time we come back from break, he's got some kind of chin lock on his opponent. This is going to get old and boring fast. She did it in round 1. She did it in the match against Aaliyah and Lacey Evans for NXT. She did it tonight. Stop it. It is just lame. It's like, it doesn't impress me at all. The first time you did it, okay, it was pretty impressive. But you're going to continue to do that is going to be not impressive one bit. There's no reason to put, like, just pull that out of your repertoire, because that is just annoying. It is. Purrazzo with a roll up, but for a 2 count, kicks by Xia Li, who with a combo of punches and then some elbows on Purrazzo, gets a 2 count, kick out of the corner from Li. Then she does a kick to the throat for a 2 count, hip toss backflip drop kick by Purrazzo for another 2 count. She does a hip toss, and then she does a backflip or handstand backflip and hits a drop kick. That's a beautiful sequence there. Hip toss, springboard backflip into a drop kick. Awesome. Purrazzo grabs Li's arm and places. This was absolutely the sickest moment of the Mae Young Classic. I don't know what the hell she was doing, but when she did this, but you see, Xia Li is down on the mat. Deonna Purrazzo grabs her leg that she would lock in the Fujiwara armbar with, and she puts one leg in front of it, one leg behind it, rolls on her shoulders, and gets Xia Li up, and then all you see is snap. She literally tried to did a snapping motion with her legs or her feet on Xia Li. It was absolutely brutal. Purrazzo then attacks the arm and a clothesline for a 2 count, forearms by Li, but Purrazzo with a kick to the knee, the knee lift and a Russian leg sweep. Then she puts in the Fujiwara armbar, but Li rolls her up for a 2 count. Then Purrazzo hits a flatliner for a 2 count. Purrazzo then goes back to the injured arm with a key lock. Li with a drop kick. Both women are down. Both women trade some chops, then some forearms. Li with a kick block, but a backflip, then an enziguri for a 2 count. Kick in the corner by Li, who dives and gets caught into the Fujiwara armbar, but it's not just one. Deonna Purrazzo is like, I'm not going to let you get out of this one. So she, motions herself over and grabs her other arm and just pulls them together for a double Fujiwara armbar and the tap out. Deonna Purrazzo will face Io Shirai in the second round. Definitely a better match for Xia Li, even though I would say Karen Q versus Xia Li in round 1 was not a 5-star classic, but it was definitely a good match in my opinion. Big announcements is Nicole Matthews. Now, the winner of this match goes on to face Rhea Ripley, and Nicole Matthews, even in her promo, says, I don't care about my opponent, and I'm going to destroy everybody in this tournament. Tegan Nox is the quintessential babyface of the NXT Women's brand. Who would you think was going to win this match? Plain and simple. This was not a toss-up. This was who would you think was going to win this match? Rhea Ripley is a heel, a nasty, dirty heel. Are you really going to put Nicole Matthews versus Rhea Ripley in the quarterfinals? And no. we do have ourselves Tegan Knox winning this match. Matthews just says something to Tegan Knox about her knee, like her knee braces maybe, like her knee pad's not done right or something, and you get a cheap shot from Matthews, but Knox sends her flying. Knox goes for a suicide dive and a forearm by Matthews, who wraps Knox's legs, her arms into the over the top rope, like Sheamus would do for his 10 beats of the Bowery, and rains in some kicks, and she gets back in the ring for a 2 count. Matthews with a few chops to the chest, and Matthews does not have that, like, she has like baby-sized hands, so when she's chopping Nixon, I say Nixon Nor because I know it's Nixon, Tegan Knox, she's not hitting any part of her like gear, she's hitting her chest first, and it just sounds worse than it would if she was actually chopping, but hitting parts of her gear. She goes for a Irish whip, but reverses her back into the corner, and then a drop kick for a 2 count. Matthews with a kick to Knox, then says, "No more comeback story in Tegan." And she kicks her in the spine again, and immediately Tegan Knox stands up, pissed as a motherfucker, takes her head and just flips her over, kicks her in the back, and then Matthews gets over Then Matthews gets up and whips Knox over and kicks her in the back spine again, and rains in some elbows, then wraps Knox's arm around her, then picks her up and clotheslines Knox, then a Northern Light suplex for a 2 count. Knox with a kick to Matthews, then some uppercuts, then tries to do a Hurricane Runner, but gets caught, and Matthews looks for the Lion Tamer, but Knox rolls her up for a 2, then a nasty headbutt by Knox rocks both women. What is with the UK wrestlers over there, or like wrestlers from the UK, with this headbutt? Like, Drew McIntyre does it all the time. I believe Pete Dunne's done it a couple times, and now you have Tegan Knox just hitting somebody with a headbutt, something that needs to be taken out of wrestling. Matthews ends up in the corner, and Tegan Knox does a cannonball, but instead of going head first, she jumps and lifts her back first and goes butt first into Nicole Matthews. Then hits the Shiniest Wizard for the 3 count, and Tegan Knox moves on to face Rhea Ripley. Mia Yim versus Caitlyn. Brennan goes on to face Toni Storm in the second round. I'm just going to say this right now. This is a better match for Caitlyn compared to Kavita Devi, which was just and boring and lame and just did not belong in the Mae Young Classic. They shake for just a second. Mia Yim really didn't want to shake her hand and just pulls it out. I mean, they are playing up the fact that she literally smacked the post with her hand against Allison Kay, which I still think was one of the best matches in the first round. That's my opinion. But they lock up and Yim shoves Caitlyn into the ropes in a chop with the injured hand, but Caitlyn gains control with many drop kicks for a 2 count. Cannonball for a 1 by Caitlyn, leg bites by Caitlyn, who starts rolling, and this segment pissed me off here for a second, because you have her do this leg bites, and Yim is able to drape backwards and get a 2 count. Then she starts doing like an alligator roll or whatever that's called, and every time she's getting 1 count, but the last time she does it, she gets her rolled over, gets a 2 count. But the thing that pisses me off, and no one's going to say this, the referee held her hand up because it was not the finish of the match. Caitlyn was not supposed to win the match there if she was to win it all. You see 1, 2, and the referee hand stands up for about a millisecond and then goes down for the 3. That pisses me off when you quite clearly see that the referee is holding the count up. This is how they want you. This is what they want you to do in WWE. You count the pinfall no matter what. If Mia Yim wouldn't have got her hand up or switched it around to be able to not get pinned at 3, that's her own fault. But you don't just sit there and it's come on, don't do that. Yim fights out, but Caitlyn pushes Yim off, goes for a baseball slide, but Yim catches her and slams her thigh on the apron. Now Yim works on Caitlyn's leg, a couple kicks to the thigh, and then a DDT to Caitlyn's leg for a 2 count. Now Yim takes Now, Yim does a modified figure four as she's standing up, and she takes both legs of Caitlyn and puts them in the figure four thing, and Caitlyn is screaming in pain because of being put in this. Mia Yim breaks it and starts going to ground and pound, and then she slaps the taste out of Caitlyn's mouth. Caitlyn screams something to her. Mia Yim goes to punch her again, and Caitlyn moves her head to the side as Mia Yim's injured hand hits the floor, hits the mat. Caitlyn gets the bad hand and starts bending the hell out of it, and bending the wrist and all. She pretty much has been talking to Pete Dunne about these joint manipulations and how to do them well, because she used that tonight in her match. She just slams it down on the mat. Caitlyn goes for a slam, body slam, but Yim shifts her weight and gets a 2 count. Kick to the head by Yim for a 2. Caitlyn with a flying tackle, both women down. Caitlyn then ducks Mia Yim, then a forearm shot to the back, then a back elbow, followed by a body slam, then another one. Yim wants some mercy, but Caitlyn with a sidewalk slam for a 2 count. Caitlyn's shoulder first into the turnbuckle, soul food by Mia Yim for the 2 count. They're like, this is the same move she used last week to beat Allison Kay. It was, but Allison Kay got hit with the soul food, which is the eat the feet off the top rope. There's a little bit more power going into that one. Spear by Caitlyn for a 2 count. Yim rolls her up and rolls her around and gets her in the knee bar for the tap out. So Caitlyn is done, and Mia Yim is moving on. Post-match, while Mia Yim is celebrating, Caitlyn gets a thank you Caitlyn chant from the crowd. Mia Yim calls her back over because she's outside. They embrace in a hug as the show goes off the air. Now, the final four matches, the next 4 matches have been made. Miko Satomura versus Lacey Lane, Toni Storm versus Mia Yim, Tegan Nox versus Rhea Ripley, and Io Shirai versus Deonna Purrazzo. I'll give you about 10 seconds to decide, to think who's going to win these matches. Okay, 10 seconds up. Miko Satomura is going to take out Lacey Lane. Toni Storm is going to beat Mia Yim. Tegan Nox is going to beat Rhea Ripley. And Io Shirai is going to beat Deonna Purrazzo. Your semifinals are going to be Miko Satomura versus Tegan Nox. And Miko Satomura versus Toni Storm. And Tegan Nox versus Io Shirai. That is how you're going to do that. It's going to be a heck of a week next week. I can't wait to see what we got coming up, but that is your Mae Young Classic review. Not a very long match. This was definitely a decent show. Last week's show did blow it out of the water. I am going to have to admit that. This match did what it had to set you up for what should be great matches. Miko Satomura versus Lacey Lane is just going to be one of those matches where Miko Satomura brutalizes another opponent, and Lacey Lane is just going to be done. Toni Storm versus Mia Yim should be a hard-hitting affair and should be a damn good match. Toni Storm is going to make Mia Yim look like $1 million. Tegan Nox versus Rhea Ripley is definitely a David versus Goliath, because Rhea Ripley is definitely the bigger woman of the two. But somehow, someway, I believe Tegan Nox is going to win this. And Io Shirai versus Deonna Purrazzo should be another great match. But that is going to be all for the Mae Young Classic. I'll be back here again Saturday for Unscripted, as we will talk about the Kevin Owens injury. Was it real, or was it just them doing a perfect double turn? We will talk about that on Saturday, and then we'll be back around for Monday Night Raw. Until then, my name is DeFrance. I'm going to see you guys later. Find me on Twitter at DeFrance. Find me on twitch.tv/DeFrance08. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like this video or dislike it, and I'll see you guys soon.